What is going on, freaks, geeks, gals, and ghouls? You're listening to Corpses for Conversation podcast, a music, movie, media, gaming, horror, and geek culture podcast. Let's get to the action ringside with your host.
What's going on, freaks and geeks, gals, and ghouls? It is I, Richard Zom, for Corpses for Conversation, a music, movie, media, gaming, geek culture podcast. And this time out, we're finally covering one of the segments we've been wanting to talk about for quite a while. We're giving you guys an awesome wrestling show slash podcast type thing here. It's our first time out the gate with it, but we're going to go off the cuff, full on indie status, how we normally love watching our wrestling shows. It is ECW November to Remember 1996. Oh, that was a great freaking show. So with that, you guys, I'm going to introduce you to the room. I'm with
Evil Dead Batman, a.k.a. Toxic J.
SoCal Leatherface.
Dimebag the Clown.
All right, you guys. I'm going to hand it over to TJ to go over that match listing.
ECW.
Well, first, before I get into that, did any of you guys, other than myself, I know Zom, grew up on ECW? I grew up on ECW. That was my number one out of the big three growing up in the late 90s.
I did. I mean, back then, you didn't really have the internet like we do now. So it was really hard to find ECW matches. I believe they were on, Spike TV, right? They had the ECW TV?
That was later in their run.
Oh, okay, that was later.
Yeah.
But, during that was done probably late 99, early 2000.
Okay.
So, but before then, they were all in syndication before their pay-per-views and stuff like that. Yeah, their first pay-per-view. And see, originally we were going to review November to Remember 97. But then when Zom had say, hey, no, let's do 96. I mean, I enjoyed that show, but I was like, okay. But then I just thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? If I had to pinpoint the landscape of wrestling changing in the mid-90s, it had to start with that event. Because at the time, NWO had just started, so that was hot. This was before the Attitude Era, so it was kind of like, these stupid gimmick matches or gimmick wrestlers like, what's his name, Mantar or, Flash.
Yeah, it was still like the land of make-believe and giants and monsters.
Yeah, Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Or WWF.
ECW was basically the little engine that could against the two titans, which was WCW and WWF at the time. If it wasn't for ECW, there would be no Attitude Era.
Oh, no, definitely.
And you know what? I don't remember that they ever commented on that, but it was clear as day that, WWE basically stole that from ECW.
Oh, no, it was addressed during the pipe bomb segment when Paul Heyman finally got to address Vince McMahon in the ring, and he pulled the ripcord on his ass, and he was like, before there was Stone Cold Steve Austin, there was, Stunning Steve Williams in ECW. He drank his first beer in ECW before he drank a beer in WWF. Like, he went down that whole line. Like, they were doing everything new and innovative, and WWE came in and pulled the gimmick and infringed their stuff because they needed to stay relevant. That's why, like you said, TJ, they went through the WWF Attitude Era. But that's because there was something pulling the direction in a different way, making tons of money, and Vince wanted a piece of that pie, so he went full bore with it.
Oh, look at Sandman. I mean, if there was no Sandman, would there be a Stone Cold Steve Austin?
And that's what I kept telling people as Stone Cold was coming up, was like, dude, he basically ripped this off the Sandman. Like, he was in ECW. Hey, I got an idea. Dude, he cemented his legacy like that. I'm pretty sure the Sandman was like, yeah, I'm cool with it. I don't care. I think also because ECW originally started as Eastern Championship Wrestling back in 92. Question. Do any of you guys know who the first ever ECW champion was?
Oh, damn. I know it wasn't Dreamer.
Hold on.
Felix is like...
Let me get on Google.
Not Mike Awesome.
I mean SoCal. Sorry, SoCal. SoCal's like, oh, shit.
Wasn't it Douglas?
I know, it was New Jack.
No. Believe it or not, it was Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Oh, damn.
Oh, snap, it was Snuka. Damn.
Yeah.
I thought it was Douglas.
Wow.
Yeah. Nobody remembers that, but see, back then, the product wasn't as good.
No.
And it was super, super indie,
That was when it was under Todd, right?
I believe so, yes. 96 is actually when they started picking up more momentum. They had a cult following, but 97 is when they started to just take off. And I don't know if any of you guys remember, in 97, they changed the ring, because in 96 and on down, it was like a light blue, and it kind of didn't really sound...
It sounded like, worn out.
It sounded more, yeah. But like, you know, in 97, when someone got body slammed on that ring, boom, you could really hear it. Yeah. That's my favorite ring still to this day. I don't even know how they did it, but it sounded so great.
You know who has that ring right now is PCW. They have
really?
They have that same sound
nice.
that where you can hear every impact. You know, so that's what I love about this PCW.
So going down the match list, we're going to talk about the opening segments all the way down to the main event. And the opening segment is Bill Alfonso coming down with the human suplex machine Taz. Now, at this point, before they used to call him the Tasmaniac, where he looked like a reject from a Tarzan movie.
Or one of the family members from the Anoa'i family dynasty.
Yeah, something like that. But calling out Sabu, which if anybody doesn't know who Sabu is, I highly recommend you guys do your research, because that guy was extreme of extreme of extreme.
Homicidal, genocidal, suicidal.
They used to be tag team partners. I don't even know what they were called, but now they're like sworn enemies. So obviously Taz is, you know, calling him out, revealing Paul Lee dangerously big secret for next year, which we all knew it was the 97 pay-per-view Barely Legal, which is great, by the way. Me personally, I just thought this was just a dumb opening segment.
It's like if he would have taken that experience of him on the microphone into what he's doing now, because he sucks on commentary. I'm sorry. He sucks on commentary. So I don't know what happens between that time. I don't know if he's old now, he's getting Alzheimer's or what, but I mean, he's almost
as good as shut up, Taz. Shut up, Taz. You sound terrible.
It wasn't a great opening segment, but for those that don't really watch much ECW, but you're dipping your toe in because of this review, it definitely sets a bar that you know what's going to come. You know that it's not like WWF. It's not as contained. It's not as censored. It's more unfiltered. And it was pretty surprising just hearing, just that raw kind of like anger. And sure, maybe it was just to like reveal something that's going to come up and give the fans something to see later. But it definitely set a bar for the intensity of the pay-per-view.
Not only the intensity of ECW, but you also had the intensity of the fans in that arena.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't talk about ECW without talking about the fans, because those fans were rabid. They weren't those kids that go to WWE or WWF. These were grown adults, probably drunk before they even got into the arena.
Yeah, what is it? Lance Storm?
Your Tommy kind of people, Dreamer, right, Dimebag?
My kind of people. Yeah.
his kind of group. But what, Lance Storm, Tommy Dreamer, and I think Shane Douglas, all three of them in several interviews said if it wasn't for the fan base, ECW wouldn't have got as far as it did. They carried that company. He goes,
oh, of course.
Aside from, I think this was Douglas again, aside from the people quoting that PWG has a phenomenal fan base, and ECW having their own fan base, even though they're separate entities when it comes to fans, the energy that the ECW fan base will pull, he goes, I've been in arenas with 30,000 people. They can't even get close to recapturing that type of magic that audience did every time we were at the ECW arena. And I'm like, what kind of a compliment's that as a performer giving it to your audience going, you guys can't be beat. No matter what happens, even if you tried to bring it back, it's not going to be duplicated. It can't be retouched. So I'm like, that's sick. That's awesome.
Yeah, mind you, they only had 1,500 fans in this arena during this pay-per-view, which is actually the biggest in history for ECW. Mm-hmm. But only 1,500 fans. That arena or warehouse, whatever they were in.
It was a bingo hall.
It was a bingo hall. It was louder than any arena that you heard in WWF.
Yeah. Sorry, Dreamer and Storm said it again in one of the documentaries that just on merchandise sales alone, Lance was like, I was coming home with $27,000 to $35,000 per show a night just in merchandise sales off of 1,500 people crowds. That's insane.
That's insane.
That's huge numbers just for your merch. You're not even talking your ticket sales. You're $27K in the
90s.
So I still can't find an easy F&W shirt.
Oh, I actually have one.
I have a GC
Yeah, and those retro
FMW.
ones are worth it money now.
So our first singles match was actually Big Stevie Cool with the Blue Guy and Hollywood Nova taking on, well, at the time he was, what was he? Davey Morton, Tyler Jericho, man, aka Kid Cash, who became Kid Cash later on. Like, dude, even Joey Styles said it. Pick a name, kid.
That does not roll off the tongue easily.
No, exactly. So, like, before this match happened, Big Stevie Cool came out with this whole, like, it was supposed to be a mockery of the NWO. So they turned it into the blue BWO, the Blue World Order, just some random color. You know, they're cutting promos. You got Big Stevie Cool, like I said, Hollywood Nova. Then they added all these other guys later down the line. And they just did it as a parody, as a joke, because before this event, they were doing other stuff. So they were doing, like, the Blue Meanie did Blue Dust. Oh, that was very disturbing to look at. You know? Yeah, you know, or his version of Steven Regal's WCW gimmick. I forgot what they were called. But yeah, so they just did it just to. Oh, and I remember they did a Kiss parody one time with Cactus Jack, which was pretty cool. But,
yeah, I vaguely recall that. I do remember I was pretty entertained by it.
Yeah, so, and it turns out it ended up hitting.
Oh, I got over
It got really big over with the fans. So they're like, you know what, let's just run with this. They started making merch, like the BWO shirts would sell out. I have a BWO shirt.
Yeah.
I love that shirt. You know?
And crazy thing is about that BWO shirt compared to the NWO, even though the NWO sold higher numbers, that BWO shirt now from the original run series is so sought after. The last time I saw, a guy had one brand new. I think he said he only wore it once and it was still pretty much brand new. I think he sold it for like $350.
I believe it. I believe it too.
And I was like, damn, dude.
There goes my Halloween costume for next year. Find an old damn PMO shirt. I'm gonna get some cut off jeans. I'm gonna point it as
well,
the booty, you know?
I don't remember it. I found him on Instagram, and I don't even know who it was, but like it's this one company that reprints old wrestling shirts, but they look exactly like the original, and that's where I got my BWO shirt, and I got the ECF&W shirt. Like they do a lot of them. The thing is, you have to DM the guy.
Yeah. I know
what
you're talking about.
He'll give you a passcode or a link to do it. Because if you go on his site, it won't show. You have to like get approval for him, which is crazy. You know, people jump on that stuff. It's one of my favorite wrestling shirts. Actually, that Stevie Richards is actually one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, and he was so underrated. Like to me, he was CM Punk before CM Punk.
Well, he said in interviews too, he fashioned the majority of his whole wrestling style and career after Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
it seemed like Shawn Michaels for sure.
And you know what? You got to give him like credit, man. Any guy that would go out there and Daisy Dukes and wrestle, like that takes balls, you know?
you a bad mofo. The only other person I've known who can rock Daisy Dukes in the world of entertainment was Lemmy from Motorhead. And he wore some really ass shows. I was like, damn, bro. When Hayabusa unmasked himself from FMW and became just H as his bad guy gimmick, he wrestled in Daisy Dukes, and I was like, Hayabusa, what the fuck, bro?
Quick side note, actually, about Stevie Richards. I don't know, this maybe about 10, 15 years ago. Do you guys remember MLB The Show would offer, like a cash prize or whatever? It was like a contest to throw a perfect pitch game in the video game? Well, he did that, but he did it before the contest was ever announced. I meant earlier in the 2 months. He just did it to do it. And then when he tried to tell them, like, it goes, no, that doesn't count. And I'm like, dude, that sucks, man. And I don't think anyone.
That's why nobody really watches baseball and stuff anymore, or even plays those games. One really good.
So overall, what did you guys actually think of this first match? I mean, it was more of a comedy act, but I still enjoyed it.
It was the entertainment of BWO.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he's definitely the best super kick in the business. Stevie Richards.
Yeah,
that's the Stevie kick.
Yeah, one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like how the blue guy? I like saying it like that. The blue guy.
The blue guy.
Instead of like, you know, He was obviously a parody of Scott Hall. Instead of a a toothpick, he throws a chicken
Oh,
bone.
dude.
Yeah.
And then them calling themselves the insiders instead of the outsiders. They're like, we're the insiders. I was like, oh my God. It worked so well.
The whole crowd was cheering at BWO, BWO. That was intense.
But you know how the blue guy, okay, so you know how Scott Hall does that little like jumping fist thing, and then he opens up his arm. It is so funny to see him do it because he's overdoing it. He's like,
it's better.
and then, it's better.
It's better.
You see the jiggling in motion.
Yeah, with his belly out and stuff. Because
I remember when I met him.
Lazy Dukes.
I met him backstage at one of the XPW shows because at the time I think he was still dating Jasmine St. Clair. And I told him, I said, dude, loved your gimmick and that whole dance thing you did as the parody. I said, the best thing ever, dude. I said, no one can make a blue person who's overweight doing that dance look like a jiggling piece of flan that looks like a Pokemon character. I said, it was flawless. And he looked at me and just laughed. He goes, never had that described to me that way, but thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Obviously, Kid Cash. I'll call him Kid Cash. I'm not gonna say that long ass name that he had. Just like
someone has to make that a T-shirt. Just
I know he was still roughly new in the business, but like he looked exactly like Ricky Morton. And if anybody
the haircut.
Yeah,
the terrible bangs with the underbrushed mullet.
But if anyone knows me, and because I love for wrestling, I honestly think the Rock and Roll Express was way overhyped, and I those guys were lame. Pardon my French, but
but there's teams like that all across the board.
And I couldn't get past the cross-eyed. Not him, but like Richard. I can't tell who was who, but yeah, the guy like their heartthrobs and stuff. With a face like that?
Well, hey, again, if Blue Meanie can bag Jasmine St. Clair, there's hope for all of us big dudes out there in the world.
It's all about the personality, man. It's all about personality.
Well, he lost weight though and started working out, so maybe that
Well, I mean, he was doing that for his health, anyways. I've watched all the wrestlers on the indie scene. I've watched all their like RF and independent interviews. And he was saying it was primarily done just because of his health, because of all the bumps and stuff. Like his shoulders were getting as bad, his knees were getting really bad, his back was part of it was getting that excess weight up off of him to help alleviate a lot of that.
So we all agree it was pure entertainment for this
match.
Oh,
straight PWO is always just pure entertainment.
I got the match going on right now, and even just seeing the Blue Meanie out on the outside of the ring, he's still playing into the gimmick. He's still doing the little thing to the crowd just to like rev them up every couple seconds.
Before we move on to the next match, I do like when he's like kind of just stalking around the ring. He kind of curls his arms like a T-Rex, like.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He was a good character actor as well as a wrestler. He just knew how to. He knew how to do like that stand-up improv pop comedy. Really, you can give him anything, and he would make it work somehow. Meanie had that ability.
Axel Rotten versus Hack Myers.
That was a fill the spot on the card match. That because at the time Axel looked like a ripoff of Raven, and I'm like, okay. And then I saw Hack Myers. I was like, so you're a bad version of one part Sergeant Slaughter meets John Cronus. I was like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this.
I never liked Hack Myers. Man, that guy is ugly. Like
busted and rusted.
He looked like he had a sweater over him. He was heavy. He was heavy everywhere.
No disrespect to George the Animal Steel right there. Whatsoever. No disrespect to George the Animal Steel.
Rest in peace, George the Animal Steel.
Yeah, I agree. This is pretty much like a throwaway match, just a filler.
Yeah, but it was a card filler for sure.
I mean, I do like Axel Rotten, especially when he had like death matches with Ian Rotten. Those were great.
And then Axel Rotten versus Balls Mahoney. Man. Those are some great matches.
But like TJ said, when he was doing stuff, especially with his brother Ian, when they were doing the IWA Mid-South stuff, like
remember that match, the Taipei death match? That was
great.
Dude.
Oh, that was brutal. That was like they saw that movie.
Yeah. So,
and they're gonna make it real life. That shit was disgusting.
SoCal, you could check that match out too. So
that one will make you cringe, dude. If you're not used to it,
they wrap their hands and then they dip them in glue and then broken glass and they just beat the crap out of each other.
The severity.
That's what I was waiting to see. I was waiting to see some of that stuff. I was waiting to see the real extreme things. And I mean, I know the second match we were saying is more like a throwaway match, but I feel like compared to the first, this is when they're really getting into the extreme part of it. Most of the match is outside of the ring. They're using chairs. They're grabbing beer cans from audience members and slamming it. So it's like now it's like, okay, now we're getting more extreme outside the ring, use the concrete. It is a throwaway match, but at the same time, it is starting to rev up the crowd for, you're going to start seeing some extreme shit right now.
You got to say it right, though. Extreme.
And for our listeners who don't know who the ECW commentator was, it's Joey Styles. And hands
best
down,
man in the business.
Best man,
yeah,
exactly. Like, even to this day, no one can compare to him. He did everything, you know, and he's very knowledgeable in the wrestling business.
Oh, yeah. He was doing production, ringside announcer, main commentator, voiceover narration for all the pay-per-views and the TV tapings. He was helping doing bookings, and he was a multi-faceted person for ECW. He was a man of many hats, and like TJ and us are saying, one of the best men in the business, especially that promo he did when he told WWF to go shove it. One of the best pipe bombs this side of CM Punk trying to do a pipe bomb.
It's kind of a bummer how they did him dirty at the end. You know,
Yeah, but he called him out though, which I was
just the oh my god pops and the cat fight pause. It's like cat fight. You know?
Oh, I love how
God, those are freaking hilarious.
You gotta add those sound clips on.
I'll do my best to find them, and
we'll have Dime and Zom wrestle.
Oh my God!
Without their shirts, and then
there you go.
Oh god, that's like a simple wrestling match right there for me.
Just hearing you yell out "extreme," it reminds me of you guys remember Harold and Kumar?
Yeah,
just random white guys are just like extreme
to the extreme, bro.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
I'm so extreme. We're even eating extreme Doritos.
And that was so fucking extreme. Yeah, man. Scale 1 to 10, 1 being not so extreme and 10 being extremely extreme. I give this a 9.5. Check it out, extreme cheddar.
There's like on an extreme scale of 0 being not so extreme and 10 being way extreme, I give this a 9.5
of extreme. So what about Bubba Ray Dudley versus Devon Dudley?
So
yeah, the Dudley boys. So what was the feud going on there during that time? Why are the Dudley boys taking on each other?
Okay, so
I was about to say.
No. Okay, so before Dudley boys that we all know now, there were a lot more Dudleys. Dudley does this, Dudley does that.
Deep.
Yeah. So,
for those who have not seen ECW, you will be introduced to Big Dick Dudley, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah. Okay. All in general, you have Bubba Ray, Devon Dudley, Spike Dudley, Big Dick Dudley. Then there was Sign Guy Dudley, Dances with Dudley. Those are the only one that I can remember. They started.
There was like 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, there was a few more. I can't remember the rest, but yeah. So all of them were like kind of feuding with each other, and I didn't understand why. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time,
I think there was even a female member of the Dudleys.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. So at this time, Bubba Ray Dudley was a face, aka a good guy, and Devon was a heel, aka a bad guy. It was like this whole blood war feud between family members, and I guess it just combined, or it all like centered around this event, and it was pretty good. There was a lot of goddamn chair shots to the head. I'll tell you.
And that's back when if you put so in ECW again in a New Jack interview, the best thing he ever said that made me crack up the most. He goes, when it came to ECW, the hardcore, our locker room, he goes, there was 3 things that you would lose respect with us in the back. If you bitched about it, if you said it was sore, and if you said people were doing being too stiff. He goes, we would call you a bitch because we didn't put our hands up. And you fucking leaned into that shit and took the hit. And you see that right what you just saw about when they're hitting each other, they just leaned in forward with it to take it. They didn't put no hand up.
Especially if you always look at Bubba Ray. Not a Bubba Ray, Devon, sorry. Like, you see him tuck his chin into his, like, chest. He was already mentally prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, aside from Mankind in the match he had with The Rock eating all those chair shots that were unplanned, the only other person in the business to this day, even though he's kind of semi-retired, only doing a couple things, and again, 2 of my favorite guys who had a rivalry going on forever, and I don't know if you guys saw that ECW Blu-ray I put up. I found a guy who had a Blu-ray compilation of all the matches between Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka. Masato Tanaka, to this day, is one of the only guys who can eat chair shots, smile at you, and then go kill you afterward. And I mean full chair shots. Chairs broken across his head. He just absorbs them. The dude's a madman.
And these are no prop chairs either. These aren't padded chairs that they're getting from under the ring. They are taking these chairs from the crowd. The audience members are handing them chairs. I was like, wow, like they're stand up, they get their chair ready, and they put it over the railing, like, take my chair.
The amount of money they made from party rental companies, man.
I wonder if those people had to just stand the rest of the show. You gave away your chair, now you got to stand for another 3 hours.
They did, and they did.
These things ran long.
I don't think anybody ever sat at ECW. You never see anybody sitting. Maybe in the top right there, but everybody's mostly standing.
Also, growing up, I think it was like, I want to say I was 13 in 96 when I was watching this, and at the time, I mean, now I love the guy, but back then, like, I hated Joel Gurdner.
Well. Despite what the Florida Tourism Board has been feeding all of you ignorant people, it is I, every female's top tourist destination, and the man whose crotch is truly the happiest place on earth. It is I, the bacon in her eggs, the man for whom she begs, and the face between her legs. The quintessential and original stud muffin, and a good Lord have mercy, goddamn handsome man, Joel. I shoot out a full condom filler, and it tastes like vanilla. Gurkha.
Like, Joel Gurdner was the pain in the ass.
Dude, he's another one who's one of the best stickmen.
He's
he had
good.
That. He always made me laugh because I was like, man, if he ever retired from wrestling, he can take over for Robin Leach for the welcome to the high life of the rich and famous. I'm like, I can see
With that neck brace with the bow tie.
Devon just threw Bubba Ray straight towards that metal railing, and he just flung right over and just landed on solid concrete. There is no padding.
He whale flopped it. It was great. He whale flopped
that
it.
is. Ooh.
Now this match was the introduction of Gurtner, right?
I don't know. He was
there before.
No, prior to this, he was actually a ring announcer for them.
Oh, okay.
So I guess they found out he was funny and just kind of added him to that. So after the match, technically Bubba Ray won the match by pinfall. He did a power bomb, right? A bubble bomb.
Yeah.
Right? So he did a bubble bomb.
No, it was the diamond cutter. It was like you threw him up in the air and grabbed. Did the diamond
correction.
And
he did. He did his own 3D.
Yeah.
But you know what? That was perfect timing. And Bubba Ray was so good at that. I don't like how he is now because he gets very political and is always hating on things. But back then, that was solid.
What happens when you get older?
I guess.
That's what happens when you get a lot of money.
You can complain about everything.
So
he looks like he's in the best shape of his life now. Too.
Oh no, he's in phenomenal shape now, man. Especially when he did his run in TNA, he was like in incredible shape.
I do like the fact that so after the pinfall, Joel Gurdner says that Devon got outscored Bubba Ray by points. I'm like, who does points in a wrestling match?
That was the best part of that gimmick move. That had me going. I was dying. And then the seriousness behind his face, like going, "You lost via points there, Bubba." I was like, "Oh, you're gonna die right now, dude."
And then you see Bubba Ray Dudley's face. Huh? What?
I know. That's where the good acting comes in. I know where he's like.
Exactly.
And then in an interview with Gurner, I think another wrestler had mentioned this to me before, but you know where he got some of that gimmick idea for the neck brace from, right?
No.
You guys ever remember the old comedy skit that Ernest would do when he dressed up as the old woman?
Oh
with the
my God,
brace?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pulled inspiration from that. And once he told me that, I busted up again. I said, dude, that's so perfect. It works on so many levels.
I don't remember if it was in this match for like SoCal later on, and as he developed the character even more, which was funny. Is like every time he would hit somebody, he would just kind of give him a love tap, but then he thought he would hit him the hardest ever, and he would just flap his arms like this.
Or when he started rocking the different series of the Hugh Hefner smoking jackets every time he came out.
With his hairy ass chest.
Yeah, this guy's coming out with just a blazer on, this hairy ass, choppy chest right here, and then he got a little bow tie that he's about to start dancing around like Party Boy from Jackass.
And then when he started having the neck braces match the outfits, I was like, oh my God, what's going on?
I think old Dimebag has some competition on it.
So at the time, Axl Rotten was teaming up with Devon Dudley. So, they jump Devon, and then Spike comes out, tried to save him, but they both get their asses kicked. And then, like SoCal said earlier, who's walking towards the ring with this ruthless aggression look on his face? It's none other than Big Dick Dudley.
Add the Dudley, Big Dick Dudley.
I wish they did a little more with him. I never heard him talk, even when he was in XPW. He was very athletic for his size, and I don't remember. Did he do a moonsault?
He did a somersault, yeah, the moonsault, yeah.
The big dick salt.
The big dick salt, yeah.
He's gonna drop the D. He's gonna drop the D.
See,
that was his. I think that was a favorite thing that one of the Dudleys said. He goes, "You're in trouble when you see big dick coming at you."
Hey, anyone that listens and is listening to the episode when this gets released, just don't pause it around this part of the conversation, because you don't want to walking around someone here in the background. Why are you talking about dicks?
You're gonna get caught off guard for the wrong reasons.
Oh man. Did get to see the acid drop. Man. We did get to see an acid drop, and I like the acid drop.
Oh yeah, that was
good. Yeah,
one of the best.
ECW tag matches. Okay, so you have Rod Van Dam, Sabu against the Eliminators, John Cronus and Perry Saturn. Like, a lot of my favorite wrestlers growing up came from ECW or Home Talent. My favorite tag team was one of the Eliminators. I loved the Eliminators, man. They were
a great tag team.
They helped change the landscape, what high flyers do.
Oh, big time. They also showed you what guys who were a little bit bigger than actual cruiserweights were still capable of doing. Saturn and Cronus during that time in ECW, they were some of the best as a tag team in wrestling, alongside like the Dudleys and stuff like that, or RVD and Sabu, for just the sheer athleticism between the both. That was one of the first times I can say, other than when I saw them later on in WWE or WWF back then before it became WWE, I saw the true athleticism of what Perry Saturn can do. And that dude can do crazy high flying spots. He's really good at just basic chain wrestling. And then Cronus, for being as big as he was, I saw more of him when he was in XPW more so than ECW, because I didn't really have cable at the time, so it was hard for me to catch up with that. And to prove TJ's favorite point, the good thing that about back then with the ECW compared to us not having internet, that was the era of VHS tape trading, where people would record hours of wrestling on the East Coast and would trade with people on the West Coast, and people would get stuff from Japan to come to the East Coast, and people would send that over to you to the States and the West Coast.
I don't know.
So I was only able to get my wrestling in.
Do you remember
certain
RF
caveats
video?
like that?
Huh? Remember RF Video?
Oh yeah.
That's where I got all my tapes from.
Oh yeah, big time.
I remember those
then,
days.
you had to meet people at shows and become friends with them, and then just trade your address and tape trade that way. Because I remember sometimes I'd have to wait almost 6 months to get a tape from people I knew from Japan, because that's how long it took to get over here. It would drive me crazy, but that's how I first became aware of like FMW, Big Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Osaka Pro, and all these other feds. But to see that kind of stuff happen when I saw Cronus in XPW, and he was about 40 pounds heavier. He was a big dude then. And he was still able to pull off a flawless 450 splash. That's when I went and backtracked. I was like, I know I've heard of this guy, but let me see where he's from. That's when I came across all the matches with the Eliminators. And I was like, dude, these guys are far better than what anybody ever got to see. If they were in WWE during the time, like when the Hardys and stuff were around, they would have had crazy matches. Crazy matches.
And we've talked about, people know who Sabu is to the extent. Everybody knows who Rod Van Dam is, but like not a lot of people, yes, they know Perry Saturn from WCW probably, but not the Eliminators.
No.
And John Cronus does not get enough credit for what,
he's so good.
Very underrated.
Rest his soul, man, but that guy was so good. And they worked together so well. Okay, so John Cronus was the more talented wrestler, but Perry Saturn was much of a better promo guy. They had the whole Rockers complex. In the end, they were all friends, but then they didn't see eye to eye, and that's why Perry Saturn left to WCW, and then, you know, John Cronus just kind of bounced around for a bit. But, man, this match was everything you ever wanted in a tag team chaos match.
Oh, yeah.
This might be my favorite episode of the pay-per-view.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like they all went all out on this one. I mean, yeah, it ended in a draw, but they gave it 110% in this match.
And that was something new to me too, when they were saying they're going to call it due to time. And I'm like, they time their matches and they keep extending it by a couple minutes. I'm like, is this a thing that was normal? They would time their matches?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah, no, you
they
always had a time slot. And if you went over your time slot without permission, the guys in the back would kick your ass for eating into their time.
Yeah.
I do like the little video that SoCal you put in the group chat when you were watching this and just kind of doing your own commentary. Oh no, it's all crazy. Oh, he hit him with this chair. Oh, he hit him with that chair.
You got another chair. I'm like, another chair? What the hell? Oh, right to the nuts. A chair to the nuts. Ouch. Oof. And now we got another chair. And a table? What the?
Exactly. And one of the cool things about the Eliminators, too, and they did this for the couple different times I think they squared off against RVD and Sabu, is, you know, you see RVD do his Van Damme kicks and stuff like that. But I remember when he first did that in one of the early tag team matches, and Cronus just looks at him, and then Cronus jumps up in the air and throws like a backward spinning heel kick and lands on his feet. And he looks and goes, what? And RVD is like, whoa, hey, all right, pal, easy there. Whoa.
So I remember when me and Zom were hanging out, I don't know, maybe about 2005 or 6. I don't remember, something like that time. So remember FMW? Oh, no, sorry. No, FCW.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, little wrestling. So, like, we were going to wrestling shows, and then his old trainer, Superboy, yeah, so we were, like, he invited me, hey, you want to go to this, you know, because Superboy is going to get us in. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go with you. At the time, like, I think I was backstage with you guys, or we sat up front.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. And they played at the Great Western Forum at the time, which is now the Kia Forum, but they only did half the arena. I'm like, you could have picked a smaller venue for that. Or we were part of the ring crew. I remember.
We did horrible at that.
Yeah, I remember you went to go pick up Sabu at the airport.
Yeah, I was with Dave.
Yeah,
Shout out to Dreadlock Dave.
So you went, and, you know, and I hung out till you guys got back at the ringside. They're like, hey, we need security. You guys are going to be security. I'm like, what? You know, and he's like,
so bad at that.
Yeah,
did horrible at that day.
I
felt
did
so
okay.
bad. I had to apologize. I had to apologize to the Messiah because he was pissed at us. Fucking pissed.
I thought I did okay, but you took like 10 years to get in there. So what happened was, like, there was supposed to be Sabu was feuding with the Messiah. The security breaks him up. So I went and I was security, quote unquote, and I was standing near Sabu like, no, don't do that. And then, you know, they're doing, and then you hear Sabu, let me go. You know, so I was like, okay, to the side. And then they start brawling. I'm like, that's like my 2 minutes of fame.
Oh, it was so
said,
bad.
Let me go. You weren't gonna go against him. You're like, yes, sir.
No,
sorry about that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
All right, to give you guys context with this, so we were doing horrible because I had only done security like twice before, but they didn't really give us a full rundown of how long they wanted us to be with either one of them, keeping them separated. So at one point, you see all of us on one end holding one guy back, and you hear Messiah screaming out across the ring, where the fuck are you guys? And we're like, oh shit, we turn around and go, let's go protect him now. But Dave made me laugh because, okay, everyone knows the finger poke of doom in wrestling when Nash goes over or somebody loses to, I think, with
Hogan, yeah.
Okay, so the finger poke of doom, and then he loses and whatever that same instance happened on the outside while we were doing our ring crew / security thing. Sabu and Messiah at one point, Sabu was telling one of us, like, I'm gonna probably crack one of you guys, and I'm like, cool, dude, I know, I'll take a bump, no problem. And Dave's like, no, I'll take it. And he it makes me laugh to think about it. I don't know if you remember, TJ. I don't know if you saw it.
I don't remember.
He had not even reached out to even touch him with the fist. He was like that far away from Dave, and Dave took a bump. And we were like, oh, what the fuck, dude? Like, he literally took like the shittiest bump. And then Sabu, like, he didn't want to laugh, but in the back, he told him, he goes, dude, why'd you bump? He goes, I didn't even come in contact with you yet. We were dying, dude. We were dying. It was the worst bump in history.
I think he just got excited, dude.
Oh, dude, it was hilarious.
So, but yeah, this match was crazy, dude. A lot of chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
a lot of chairs. A lot of big guys flying over the rope, man. Blood. I like how Sabu always sets up a chair. He's about to go run and jump off it. I'm like, this was extreme. It seemed like Rob Van Dam and Sabu, like with their, sequenced up high-flying moves was like reminiscent of like the Hardy Boys. Like how they would time up these things to both jump off at the same and hit at the same. It was
Well, I
awesome.
always loved the fact that Sabu puts the chair down to go up off the top rope. And then he said in interviews too, he goes, why would I want to do all that extra work and tire myself out? He goes, I found a cheat sheet. So I'm like, right on, dude.
And mind you, they didn't have a lot of room to fly at these ECW events. Maybe it looked more, in person, but like from TV, it looked like you only had like a couple feet of space there.
Yeah, like one misstep, you can head over the guardrail into the crowd.
Sabu jumped over the top rope to land on the other three, and he hit his throat on the metal railing.
Yeah.
They all took the fall, and then he hit his throat. It was crazy.
He's hit his throat. He cracked and broke his jaw, not clearing the guardrail. Like he hooked it on his chin, cracked his jaw doing that. He's broke his wrist a couple times, his ankle a few times. Most of all those guys had worse injuries from not being able to clear the guardrail and actually taking moves from the other guy.
Plus the scars that he had on
there.
Those battle scars. And it's like, holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
So our next singles match was Mikey Whipwreck, which was former ECW champion, which is weird, versus, no gimmicks needed Chris Candido. Another filler match. It was nothing special.
Yeah. It was more of a push for Whipwreck. You saw him do some cool high spots, and that was pretty much the end of it. The only great part of that, because I was never a big Chris Candido fan. Nothing against him. I always thought he was a super cool guy, but I was never just a fan of his gimmicks, I should say. His work was solid, but I was never super entertained by anything he did. But that top rope super power bomb he gave Whipwreck, I was like, damn, that was impressive, because you had to have really good control to be able to pull that off as effortlessly as he did, because one misstep with that, you're a dead man coming down.
And you could tell that these guys it is extreme wrestling. It does make it seem like, they don't follow the rules like, WWF and all the other ones, but you could tell, you could see the moments when they're checking in on each other when you think that something didn't go right, and then they're kind of do that little huddle a little bit, like they're trying to recover, and they're checking in like, are you all right? You good?
You know what? Yeah. I like looking at those moments, like when they huddle over each other, and it's like kind of like a Where's Waldo to me. I'm like, oh, they're talking. They're talking.
It's one of the things that the fans, if you're a fan, you've been watching it for a long time, behind the scenes of wrestling, you can catch those moments. You can catch the moments when they're slitting their forehead to make themselves bleed with a razor blade. You can catch the moments when you see that they're setting something up, like, a big move's about to happen.
The fans would
move over the barricade. You can see it. I know it's that, and again, to what you guys were saying, there's such a small distance between the ring and the railing that they would just put the table right in between. It would just make a little bridge.
I think my taste in music, how it is now and growing up, ECW helped me. I know we're watching it off the Peacock, unless someone has the original cuts, which is very rare nowadays. They all played their own music that they wanted to. Chris Candido came out to Back in Black, and Mikey Whipwreck came out to I don't remember the song, but it was a U2 song. Everyone like the Sandman. Duh, Enter the Sandman.
Well, Sandman's one of the luckiest people to this day. He said in his RF interview that he ran into James Hetfield in the airport where he was going to another show, and he goes, I had a moment where he walked up to me, he goes, hey, aren't you the Sandman? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, you're fucking James Hetfield of Metallica, man. You go, big fan. And dude's like, I'm a big fan of you guys and your wrestling. So he goes, he sat there and chopped him up with him for about 10, 15 minutes. And just chill about it. He goes, hey, man, I don't want you guys to get upset or anything. He goes, but I use your entrance song of Enter the Sandman for my character, my gimmick. And he goes, oh, yeah, we've seen that. We love it, dude. He goes, if you guys are cool with it, he goes, I like to keep using it, but I want to get permission. And he goes, dude, here's my number top. He goes, full access to that song, bro. Don't even worry about it.
That was before Napster?
Was that before or after the Napster thing?
He pretty much told him when they met in that airport and they had their couple minutes of dialogue that he had full permission to use that song for any time he was using the entrance. He had full access to it. He's one of the very few people I've ever met in the business outside of the music entertainment world. He doesn't get charged any royalties for it. He doesn't pay no dime out of his pocket because James Hetfield gave him full permission to use that song. He didn't even consult Lars or anybody. He's like, no, I'm giving you permission, bro.
Had it been Lars, I'm pretty sure it would have been different considering all the Napster stuff that went on.
Oh, he owes $1 million. There you go.
Exactly. Every time you come out,
you know, you got RVD that comes out to Walk by Pantera, and
Yeah.
to this day
And
he still
Pantera
uses.
never tripped on him for doing it. They liked RVD. They didn't really ever care.
Yeah, so I mean, if that's what you guys think is the reason why they had to cut out the entrances watching this over Peacock, I mean, dude's rocking.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got
right here in the middle of the ring.
Studio
Licensed character.
WWF never wanted to pay for the royalties.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're back for round 2 this time. This time we have the Gangsters, Mustafa and New Jack, against Rod Van Dam, Sabu, and the Eliminators. And that was even crazier.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you got New Jack in the match, you know it's going to be insane.
And like I said, I loved Natural Born Killers because of,
Oh my
because of
god,
the tag team.
the Gangsters.
But they used
Good.
another one in this one, right? Because they had Natural Born Killers, and then there was another song that.
Before that, I think they used Murder Was the Case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Natural Born Killers is a way better song
Oh,
for
yeah.
them.
Way better.
Oh yeah, but I've always just loved New Jack for his. Now that man's a true sense of insanity. Like he said, when it's time to go, it's time to go. You don't want to be anywhere near him because he goes out to entertain. And every time he had a match, especially with Mustafa, he'd be like, "Come on, Mustafa, let's go kill these motherfuckers." And he meant it. They went out there to go
Yeah.
do it.
And these two tag teams, though, mind you, these two tag teams just were wrestling for like 30 to 45 minutes with chair shots like we were just talking about. And they have to come back out within 30 minutes later to just
To
start
take
doing
more
it all
chair
again.
shots.
Yeah, it's
Or
just
did
like,
you see the one spot where Jack cracked Cronus in the head with the chair, and then he was going to crack him 2 more times, and Cronus picked up the trash can and started swinging back at him? Cronus actually F'd that spot because he was like, "Screw you, I ain't taking no more of your chair shots." It's called, "Dude, you're killing me."
oh, yeah.
Jack got all mad. They messed that spot up. But Cronus was like, "You ain't hit me in the head with a chair no more, Jack."
Oh, he was like, enough's enough.
Yeah, he's like, "I ain't taking no more skull cracks."
You're trying to take me out. I'm going to take your ass out.
I know, it's like, I guess you can kind of already predict who the winner would be, considering two of these tag teams, like I said, have been wrestling for 45 minutes already. Leave it to the guys that came in fresh, you know what I mean?
The Gangsters. You got to say,
It shows credence to the conditioning that those guys are doing. The fact that the Eliminators were able to come back out and do another match for that stretch, and same with RVD and Sabu, who already had matches and stuff. That just shows you their conditioning was on point.
do you remember in XPW when they were just starting out, they had their own versions of the Gangsters? They were called, Mustafa was there, but
Yeah.
they called themselves the N-words, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
I think-
oh, like, that's way too much.
Wasn't it? It was
I don't even
Crack.
know-
Crack was a member of it for a limited time.
Was it, I don't remember who the main guy was, but like that's unforgettable was like
They had he was only on one show for it. I think it was at the Pico Rivera spot, but that was that one show where I think they had K Quick was a member of it for one night with that white boy who looked like Eminem.
oh I don't know, but
And
like
then
I
that went away.
remember
John
watching.
Cena?
I remember.
No, God, no.
So I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember the Palace in Hollywood?
Yeah.
It's called the Avalon now, and
Yeah.
so that's where I saw XPW.
Zom
the
got
first-
kicked out.
Yeah.
What?
For the first time. It was the King of the Deathmatch tournament, and that was my first deathmatch tournament. It's not as extreme as it is now, but back then.
Oh no.
So, anyways, that was the first time I ever, that tag team debuted. That's when Mustafa came. That's when Shane Douglas appeared with Chris Candido, I think. And anyways,
Yeah.
so when they announced that tag team, they really said the N word. I was like, oh my god! Like it was a Hispanic guy who announced it. I was like, oh yeah. I was like,
Even the ring announcer guy they had that looked like a metalhead that was trying to recapture his glory still. If you know who I'm talking about, DJ, the homeboy had like the long hair, but it was kind of
Chris
fake
Claus.
here.
Chris
Huh?
Claus. Chris Claus.
No, that was different. It was different guy. It was the ring announcer guy who always wore like a sports jacket with a regular T-shirt, and he had his hair slicked back, long hair. He would shave his goatee in the X.
No, I don't remember that.
You the fan base would give him so much shit, and for him to get around not being able to cuss, ingenious move. He even made a T-shirt of it. I wanted to get it. He would tell everyone, "I don't give a damn what you think of me." He goes, "So for yourself," and we'd all start cracking up. And he came with the shirt that says "So space for yourself." So he was like saying "So fuck yourself," but he was saying "So for yourself." He would do that shit every show. "So fuck yourself," and they're like, "What the fuck?" It was great. He made me laugh. That dude was fucking funny.
Okay, so we get into the weird part of the event. Now, this whole segment...
One of the things that we haven't been mentioning in here, because, wrestling pay-per-views is a new format for us. We haven't been saying the winners of these matches. We've been saying who's in them. But, I mean, the Gangsters did win that championship match. I think we've been leaving out who wins these matches.
Well, it's ECW, don't really matter.
Yeah,
Don't really matter.
Everybody
Doesn't
wins.
really matter.
So,
In case
like
of
I
people
said...
are listening, it's like, now I gotta watch it to find out who wins.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. We want you to go back and do your
so
research and see it.
we get into this weird part of the event where Too Cold Scorpio comes out to get interviewed by Joey Ryan. I meant Joey Styles. This event takes place the day before Survivor Series 96, where Flash Funk, quote unquote, debuts, which is Too Cold Scorpio. So he's basically he plays the heel in this. Screw you guys. I'm going to WWF. I don't need this bingo hall, etc. So he challenges all these wrestlers to Loser Leaves Town match. So the first wrestler, if he beats Too Cold Scorpio, he's gone for 15 days. And as the match progresses, he doubles it or ups the ante. I mean, I'll run down the list. You got Too Cold Scorpio versus Devin Storm.
Yeah, squash match.
Yeah, then you have Too Cold Scorpio against JT Smith. Yeah.
Another
30
squash
days right
match.
there.
And then,
30 days.
yeah, and then you have Too Cold Scorpio versus Hack Myers. Ugh. That
60 days.
That guy is so ugly, dude. I'm sorry.
See, 60 days, guys. We went from 15 to 30 to 16, and now this is when the ante gets lifted way up. What do we got for the next one?
1 year.
A year.
So you have Louis Spicoli against Too Cold Scorpio. Too Cold Scorpio is trying to convince him, hey, let's go back to WWF. You'll be my tag team partner, and all this. And Louis Spicoli is like, I've been there. I'm not going to play another gimmick wrestler again. He was called Rad Rapper, like a metalhead, but really bad.
That's Rad Rapper.
Yeah, Rad Rapper, or whatever his name. Anyways, so
The blueprints of John Cena during the rap gimmick years.
Yeah, so obviously, they wrestle. I don't know. I think it was like 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Maybe a little longer.
Yeah, something like that. But Louis Spicoli picks him up. Louis Spicoli driver, 1, 2, 3. Goodbye to Scorpio. And then he embarrassed himself for what, a year in WWF?
Yeah. I like how the whole audience is getting in, or the whole na 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 na. It's like, dude, we didn't get
I still laugh
disrespected by
when-
everybody in the audience. They're, you sold out. You sold
Oh
out.
yeah, they gave him hell for that. I laughed too because when I saw him go to WWF at the time, and he was the two funk gimmick, and he came out, and I'm like, why do they have this fool dressed up like he's like an Ultraman figure from Japan? Like he has this whole full body leotard up to his neck. I was like, what the hell is this damn thing?
To this day, that's how he still dresses when he wrestles. Like I said, I saw him before the pandemic at a PCW event, and he still dresses like that to this day.
It's funny because I saw him at twice at a GCW event, and this is when the pandemic stuff. Everyone was going out a little more. I think it was like 2021, maybe early 2022. So he was coming down, doing the whole dancing thing, but he would wear a bandana over his nose and his mouth.
Yeah.
And at first, I thought because COVID and he's still eating the mask thing and all this other stuff, I come to realize like something happened. And kind of the bandana flicked up a little. He's got no teeth.
Oh,
Yeah,
Like,
no.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like I guess he wears dentures because I saw him in a dark side of the ring with teeth. But yeah, when he wrestles, he takes it out. So he just wrestles with a bandana. I'm like, God damn, man! Like that's
Well,
all.
the last thing you want to do is take a bump and your teeth go shooting out.
Yeah.
I'm still making payments on that.
Oh, I got his teeth. Ah! That fucker bit me, and I'm not even near ringside. What the hell?
It definitely took up a lot of time. And even after all the matches, we still got Taz coming out there just to talk some more
that was
shit.
like not needed. He came out and they just talked shit for a minute. And I'm like, okay.
Mr.
It's
Speedo
funny
Torpedo
because
himself, man.
I would watch ECW with my dad, and I remember one time we were watching, and we were quiet. We weren't talking. We were just watching. He goes, "You know what? I don't like that guy. What kind of guy? Why?" He goes, "What kind of idiot goes out and wrestles without knee pads? Like, like he goes, his legs look weird looking. You know, he's short, dumpy. Who's he gonna intimidate?" I was like, I was just laughing, dude. Like,
Yeah. See, I was watching this part with my daughter, and she's like, "Who's the little white guy jumping around the ring with him?" And I'm like,
Oh,
I guess that's supposed to be his hype man or his own personal referee.
Dude,
I don't know.
Bill
He is
Alfonso.
one of the best managers and most annoying managers on the planet. Bill Alfonso, he had that down. The fact that he would valet and manage RVD and Sabu, and then when he goes heel, he starts valeting for Taz. And all
No,
he
no,
did-
no.
Dude,
It
hey.
was the other way around.
Okay,
So
but
he was managing
the-
Taz at first, then he turns heel and teams up with Sabu and Rod Van
yeah,
Dam.
but
I
I'm
think-
saying
I think that
the
Zom picked the
simplest-
right. Zom picked the right word though, because this dude looks like he valets the cars for the guys.
Yeah, no, he does. Yeah. The simplest thing he did that made it work, and I had to give him props. No hat, and then he's wearing a hat. That was like his biggest
No,
change of wardrobe.
Now I got
as a
this
manager.
image. I got this image in my head because I don't know if you guys know, but he always uses the word daddy. Like daddy.
Yeah.
So just picture him in a car setting. "You want me to park your car, daddy?" You know, just like,
Yeah, he always would do that stupid shit. Every time RVD like tell him, Fonzie, how long have I been the TV champion for? He's like 1,702 days and 14 minutes and 7 seconds, daddy. I would start busting up like, what the fuck is this?
And that damn whistle, man. Freaking.
say
Oh
daddy
yeah,
or-
I wanted him to
daddy
choke
or
and die on
Danny?
that fucking thing.
and he's a former rep for WCW and WWF.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah,
he looked like a
that's
meth addict in
little
ECW. He was missing teeth. He didn't need the whistle. He just whistled through the fucking space in between.
Like when Taz is intimidating that guy in the corner, just sitting him down like, "You don't move, you sit right there," and he's just over here like, yeah, with a little whistle blowing in his face. I'm like, dude,
Daddy.
Good stuff.
get me, Tracy.
Oh, if he was in Dick Tracy movie, he could be one of the stitches. That'd be the
He
best.
could be like the rat or something.
I'll tell you everything you need to know, Daddy. Just don't hit me.
Oh shit.
All right, so we have our co-main event for the ECW World Heavyweight Title, which is Sandman and Raven in I don't even know if it was like a no holds barred, but in ECW everything is no holds
Yeah,
barred.
it's no.
Yeah,
Like
Just
I
ask
grew
your
up,
wife.
I
Deck your wife match. Winner gets the wife.
I loved Raven. I love the whole Outcast look. Like I never liked the Offsprings as a band. To me, they were kind of boring. But I loved how he came out to come out and play. And I'm like, it suited him so well, dude. This was a straight up brawl. Once again,
Oh yeah.
more chair shots, but kendo sticks and beer and everything. So the storyline was Raven was feuding with the Sandman, but Raven has like his wife and his kid on Raven's side. You
Yeah.
know? So they daddy's a loser and a drunk.
That whole
That was a
storyline.
good storyline. So I'll get into some of the funny parts. With I think her name was Lori. Was it Lori Fullington? I think it was.
I think so.
Yeah.
So and his son was Tyler or Taylor.
Tyler.
Brawl around the ringside, in, out, whatever. Then you start to see the blood. Stevie Richards and the BWO, but they all dressed up in like suits, but they're all like, they all cut it up. They all see their stomachs showing, especially the Blue Meanies wearing a half piece, you know, just like.
Yeah, in my mind, I was like, are they making fun of the Mean Street Posse? And then Blue Meanie's like supposed to be old school Hunter Hearst Helsley, like with the top petticoat and stuff like that. I was like, what the hell?
Like, I just might as well bring it out. When Lori Fullington, I'm just going to call her Lori. I'm pretty sure it's Lori. The Sandman had Raven in the corner. He's facing I'm going to kick your ass kind of type thing. Lori comes in the ring. That sounds funny. Okay, she gets in the ring. She has the kendo stick. She misses 3 times. I'm like, and that was like, those were a clear shot to the back of the head. So I'm thinking, did she like intentionally miss, or she really missed? You know?
Told her to play into it, like make it look real, and that was her best attempt. This guy just felt like a breeze on the back of his neck. Like, what's going on?
because she tried to go for the head, you know, but she kept missing. You know, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, and then she's like, "Oh, screw it, I'll just hit him in the back."
Yeah, that was one of my mistakes when I would do the ring crew stuff. One time, just jokingly, I told Sandman, "Hey, man," I said, "you know, I'm a fan of those, of course, and I don't want to mark out." I said, "But I really want to know, you crack people so many times with that kendo stick. Like, do they really mess you up as bad as you say they are? Like, you know." He goes, "You want to feel it real quick?" And me being stupid, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take one." And everyone's looking at me going, "Oh, they're like, you effed up, Dom," because he's already been drinking. So he goes, "You ready?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You're big enough." And hey, I almost jumped I looked like Tom from Tom and Jerry. I went, I regret that to this day, dude. I had a mark on my back for like 2 weeks. It took that long for it to heal. It felt like I got hit by a metal rod. He cracked that motherfucker on me, man.
You know what Lori looked like when she was swinging that kendo stick? She looked like Wendy from The Shining. They're going up the steps. She's like just swinging the bat. Get away!
That's terrible. Terrible.
Oh my god.
Now I'm gonna watch this.
Is it supposed to be an ironic thing that Raven is wearing a shirt that says Sandman while he's fighting the Sandman? Like,
yeah, he would do little nuances like that.
That's just like when he used to come out with like Nevermore. He had the Nevermore shirts on.
Yeah,
like a Nile,
Edgar Allan Poe, Nevermore, a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
See, again, my daughter's sitting there with me, and she's just like, "Who's the Karen shouting outside the ring?" And she's looking for. She's like, "I think she's looking for the manager or something."
The finish of that match for me was like very anticlimactic for all the cool shit they did, and then he just does some little half-ass tornado DDT thing on the guardrail, and he wins. And no, I watched that, and I don't remember the pop being that not over. Everyone's like, "Oh, cool, you're champion now." Oh, right on. No one cared. I was like, "That's effed up, dude." They did all that. They don't care. Like, "Oh, Raven lost. Sandman's new champ."
So they have this moment, all right? So they have this moment where the Blue Meanie and Stevie Richards starts getting in the ring. They want to start helping out. They want to, like, I guess I don't know why they're going after Raven. I mean, Blue Meanie thinks that, you know, Sandman's on the table. He plans a somersault to crash through the table, not knowing that Raven's the one on the table, right? He clears the table. He flies completely over it and just like, damn. That was a major flop. I bet he felt that one. He's outside the ring right now, grabbing his knees. Like,
"Welcome to Botchamania."
Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to be part of the gimmick. Like, "Oh, I didn't know he was back there," but he also didn't know how far the table was. He cleared it. Oh man, so many botches. So now Raven's like, "Well, what am I supposed to do with this table? This table's still good. I might as well just throw him into it." And he just like throws him, and Sandman trips over his shoelace and does a flip. Like, okay, that happens when someone throws you. You just do a somersault.
When in doubt,
well, see, that was the beauty of ECW. They never worried about it because they knew the fans were going to be like, "You fucked up, you fucked up." But that was part of the magic of the show. They're like,
"Oh yeah, they would. If you messed up, they would let you know."
Yeah, they improvised it a lot.
Raven's a bloody mess, dude. He's a bloody mess at this point. This guy is just drenched with blood. Imagine getting all that blood in all of your hair too. That shit's sticky. Ugh.
Two of the guys who were the best color to get color in the business was Steve Cornito and Ric Flair. Ric Flair would bleed like a stuffed pig with his blonde hair. He would just get drenched in it, just drenched.
No, I just think the reason why Ric Flair looked cool is because of his hair.
Yeah.
No, when it bled, that's why it got all like it made it look more dramatic. That's why.
Yeah, and then Cornito just bled because he bled.
I forgot what event it was. Do you remember when Tommy Rich was when he was managing the FBI, the Full-Blooded Italians? And he bled. I forgot what event it was. I think it was Hardcore Heaven. I'm not too sure. And he looked like a mess. And he had the same color
sometimes
hair.
they really.
I'm losing at this moment, guys. When Raven's in the corner, Sandman gets him in the corner, and then the kid goes in there, right? And he sits in front of him. You know, Sandman's not going to hit Raven with his kid in front of him, and it just reminds me of Ready to Rumble. He's like, "Don't do it, Dad."
I would have gave Raven props. He would have cracked him, like, just throw the chair at the kid.
Little kid sitting there. "Don't do it, Dad."
It's funny because I enjoyed this match, and I think it should have been the last match rather than the next one we're going to talk about. Which
they should have definitely done that.
Which is Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer against Brian Lee, the Bulldozer, and Shane Douglas. Yeah, I mean, I respect everything Terry Funk has done for the business, but I think towards the ECW run, and I know he was beaten and battered and stuff like that, but I just didn't like his wrestling style at all.
No, his body had enough.
You know, and to this day, he had the worst moonsault ever. I
The funk salt? Don't make fun of the funk salt.
I can't
It
stand
was awesome,
when
sir.
he looks like he's gonna have a heart attack mid-air.
Yeah, that's what you call the stroke salt. You just get up halfway, like, I better get over the rest of this.
And I do like the fact though that Tommy Dreamer switched outfits from wearing like the little shorts to the long judo pants or yoga, whatever. Because it fits him more now in the older ECW
Oh,
events.
God, when he used to come out looking like Jeff Jarrett's character from WWF.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Ugh.
It was pretty bad.
Mhm.
I mean, I like Brian Lee. Brian Lee is an underrated big man.
Yeah, I forgot how big he was. He was pretty big, man.
For any of our listeners that actually watch wrestling and remember, there was SummerSlam '94 where it was Undertaker versus Undertaker, and Brian Lee was the fake Undertaker.
Yeah, so that means he was 6'8" then.
He was about the same height.
Yeah, about 6, because Taker's about 6'8", almost 6'10". Used to be 6'10", but he lost a couple inches because of all the years of wear and tear, of course.
I remember the fake Taker was a little bit shorter than
Yeah.
Because Taker was almost 7 feet. He was 2 inches shy of being 7 feet, so he's 6'10", and then I think Brian was 6'8".
I feel like Tommy Dreamer's performance in this match, I mean, he really did a great job. We were talking about this before recording, that when some of these ECW, WCW wrestlers went to WWF, and to see the ones that were just totally underutilized and underappreciated, Tommy Dreamer is definitely one of them. I don't remember his run in WWF ever being anything as spectacular as his performance here. He's one of the more top-tier wrestlers. I mean, this is the main event match.
He was the poster boy of ECW.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He couldn't be what he was in ECW. They put so many filters on him when he put WWE.
A lot of those guys said that even when they went from one fed to another, that they're like, hey, part of my whole stable of my working stuff is like, I have to do some of this violent stuff. And they're like, no, you're with WWE now, we're pandering to the kids, you can't do it. So as soon as that happened, like you guys were saying, once they started putting those stipulations on them, it just killed their careers because their hands were tied. They couldn't do what they do best.
And I met Tommy Dreamer at some wrestling show. I took a picture with him. I have it on my Instagram. Nicest guy, dude. I'm like, hey man, like I grew up, watching you. He goes, wow, way to make me feel old. I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. He goes, no, I'm just. He's like, no, I'm just messing with you. I was like, oh, okay. It's like,
well, he's another one too. He married Beulah McGillicuddy, and I'm like, man, she ain't nothing to sneeze at. She's a pretty good looking woman.
Yeah, I don't think they're married anymore, but yeah.
No, they were married for a long time.
Yeah. So I know they have twins or something like that, but
twin daughters, I think.
I think so, yeah. Before I get into that, so obviously Shane Douglas was hooking up with Francine, and they were the manager. I don't know on a personal level. I don't know if on a personal level, but I totally forgot about this spot. I never remember her doing anything like this. Like, she gets up on the top rope, and I thought she was going to do a moonsault. I was like, oh, she's going to do a backflip. And she just does this, like, really bad, like, luckily Tommy Dreamer was there to catch her, but I was like, ooh, that was pretty bad, man. I think it was just for the ass shot because she was just wearing some lingerie or a thong.
Oh, yeah.
It was all about the TNA.
Oh, but she said in several interviews, because I've seen her interviews too, she goes, oh, I was never a wrestler. She goes, I was down to take a spot, and she goes, I was eye candy. She knew her role. She's like, I'm fucking eye candy. Like, I'm out there to be eye candy. I get it.
Especially during this time of wrestling, in the mid 90s, it's like female wrestlers or female, they were more just for eye candy than wrestlers. They didn't really get a chance to shine until, now in the current, probably like the mid 2000s. That's when they really got a chance to show that they can wrestle too. So yeah, during this time, it's like, that's all they were.
I think I have a picture with her. I met her at when I would go to shows at the Frankensons when Bart was running the AWS wrestling shows. I met her at one of the autograph signings.
I think you actually showed me that picture. I think
and I was like, I want to get into the business, and it was so funny. She actually saw me. She goes, "Honey," she goes, "Don't." And she made me blush because she was like, "You're too good looking of a big dude." She goes, "Don't do that to yourself and your body." And at one part of me, I was like, "Oh, she thinks I'm good looking." The other part of me was like, "Oh, she's killing the dream of what I want to do." She's like, "Don't do it." I'm like, "Oh."
It was like two birds with one stone. This event comes to a close, gentlemen. So overall, not the best, but not the worst.
No.
I don't know if you guys agree, disagree. What do you guys think?
No, I'm right there with you.
It was brilliant, but not memorable. You know, there was some good matches, but then there was half of those matches were filler matches, like you could have seen on regular TV. You know, the Raven versus Sandman match, amazing match. Loved it. Entertaining as hell. But, yeah, it just didn't feel like it should have been a pay-per-view.
Actually, these weren't pay-per-views. They
weren't?
weren't doing pay-per-views. Pay-per-view started in 97.
Oh.
These were house shows.
Yeah, they were actually recorded for their home video market. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and being someone that comes in, you know, watching more WWF and then getting into this whole ECW, it's like, I know there's a lot more extreme moments that have happened. I've seen clips, I've heard of things.
Oh,
I wasn't sure what to expect going in. Compared to some of the more extreme things I know are out there, yeah, this isn't one of the top tier. You definitely get that taste of that extreme wrestling and how it compares to, you know, the more, I guess, you know, media popular WWF, and how this is just more raw. And I really enjoy that raw. I enjoy that gritty. So it really has got me hooked, and I would want to watch more of this.
Well, like every porn star says, it's always better without the condom on.
Like I said earlier in the episode, this was the turning point in wrestling. And trust me, ECW events starting from here get way better.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they start to find
so
it,
good.
so like I said, this is just the spark, in my opinion.
Would there be a GCW or XPW or, you know,
CCW,
or even bar wrestling if it wasn't for ECW paving the way for these extreme wrestlers, you know?
It would have maybe happened at some point in some iteration, but it wouldn't have been as impactful without what ECW did.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you guys this before we wrap this up. Do you think if ECW had survived, that it would be well received today?
If they kept it its own entity, kind of like how well Triple H did NXT and how it kind of became separated from the main brand of WWE and Vince squashed it, ECW would have probably still be around today and staying hardcore, even though times have kind of changed. It wouldn't have been the same, but it would have had a longer longevity of life. A lot of fans don't know this, but I learned it just because talking to people and watching documentaries. For I think the last couple of years of ECW's life before they had to actually close the doors, even Paul admitted it in one of the interviews. Vince was fronting financially ECW.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was for a while.
He became such a fan of it. And he was doing that because he was also developing what the Attitude Era was going to become. So he was fronting the bill to keep ECW alive before making that move.
I would like to hope that something like this could have survived in modern day when we have all the cancel culture and you know, a lot of people have become really sensitive to a lot of things. I would like to hope that something like this could still be around, that a little piece of our, you know, childhoods, you know, 20 years ago, our youths can still survive somewhere, even if it's within these walls that they're doing these events.
Yeah, no, it has. It's still there, but it's on a smaller scale. Like you have, TJ mentioned it earlier, you have GCW wrestling that's really big on the indie scene now. You still have PWG that's around, even though the ticket prices are astronomical.
Circle 6 is actually coming
Circle
up.
6, there you go.
And you have all the resurgent and rebirth of XPW. Even though it isn't the same, it's still trying to recapture that, but they still have death matches and stuff. So it's out there. But yeah, GCW and Circle 6 are really doing crazy things. And being a fan of deathmatch, TJ said, and I'm sure Dime has enjoyed them. Back when I first saw them with XPW, I was like, wow, these are great. And then CZW, I was like, wow, these are real, like Cage of Death under CZW is some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen. And when JC Bailey was alive, he was a wrestler, when he was doing the ultra violent deathmatch stuff in CZW, that's what GCW and Circle 6 is now. The death matches are, for me personally, they're too much. I mean, these guys are getting injured every time.
There has to be a balance between extreme and common sense. Now, I saw someone posted something a while back on one of their stories, and I don't even know if I can find it again, but it was a wrestler. They were doing a death match. I think it was in XPW, but on the East Coast. I'm not 100% sure. Like, this dude literally took a blade, and you see the cut happening. And I'm like, okay, that's too far.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're only probably going to get less than $100 in that.
Correct.
That is not worth your hospital bill.
No, it's not. You're going to pay more than that just in medical fees getting yourself patched up. The one thing I will say with migration of deathmatch, even though it's really over the top and I'm not the greatest fan of it, even though I enjoy it in certain avenues, I like that there's a bigger push of there's females now doing deathmatch wrestling. That wasn't really there. Like, big shouts out to the Wounded Owl Lufisto. She was one of the first that I knew stateside that was doing the stuff. But a lot of the Japanese girls from overseas that never got their coup de grace, like Combat Mother-in-Law Toyota and Megumi Kudo and all these girls who do crazy deathmatch stuff in Japan, we're seeing that happen now over here.
It's funny. Like I said, I think we're just over talking now about this episode and off the subject. But like I knew about the female deathmatch wrestling through the Insane Clown Posse and Stranglemania. So you know how they would commentate their stuff over actual commentators. So I don't know any of the names, but all I know is the names that they gave them. Like there's this one called it's funny. I'm allowed to say it, Sweaty Betty Armageddon.
That was Combat Mother-in-Law Toyota that we're making fun of.
Or was it Sweaty Ned in Armageddon? I don't know, something like that.
One of those iterations, yeah.
Just it's so funny, and then how they're commentating about. I highly, for any wrestling fans, try to track those down. Those things are hilarious.
Those are entertaining.
I did buy in. I bought that. What are they? The Insane Clown Posse when they came out with that Extreme Wrestling backyard wrestling video game on the PS2.
Oh yeah,
I bought that. I bought that.
What's the rating overall for this ECW November to Remember '96?
So from 1 to 5, probably
1 to 5 chair shots.
Yeah, 1 to 5 chair shots. I'll probably give it maybe a 3.
I'm gonna have to concur with that. I'll give it about a 3.
I'll give it a 3 as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to follow you guys. It's a 3. It's enjoyable. It's not a waste of time.
All the way across the board.
Not bad for our first wrestling episode, guys.
Oh yeah.
Overall, got an average rating from everybody. It's average.
Yeah, average. Three chair shots are better than 5.
Exactly. But like always, you guys, make sure you guys check out the Instagram page. Give us feedback on this being one of the first episodes we're covering on wrestling. Let us know what you guys think, what you guys would like us to cover. We have other stuff in the chamber that's definitely planned wrestling related that we're going to cover. Get that CFC podcast chant going out there. We would appreciate it. Go from ECW to CFC, 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 CFC. And of course, like always, in the room with me, I'm Richard Zom for Purposes for Conversation, along with the guys. Go ahead, guys.
Evil Dead. I screwed up my own name. Evil Dead Batman, a.k.a. Toxic J.
You fucked up. You fucked up.
Fucked up. You fucked up. SoCal Leatherface.
And Dimebag the Clown.
We'll see you guys ringside next time.
There's no need to say be kind rewind because there's nothing to rewind.
Oh my God!
So instead, it'll be shut up and take the bump.
There we go. All right, SoCal, you gotta say that.
All right, here we go. Right. Shut up and take the bump.
All right, you freaks, geeks, gals, and ghouls. Thank you for listening to Corpses for Conversation. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Instagram and YouTube page, and we'll see you at ringside next time.